Dumelang Bakhaisho and a very warm welcome to episode 39 of the IAB Insights series. My name is Rehueta, a marketing newbie at 2U and your official IAB Insights host. Now, many of us are familiar with the traditional sense of out-of-home advertising. Now, digital out-of-home is available with programmatic options. With the impact of changing technologies and customers now walking into a new post-COVID world, static posters and billboards are being replaced by dynamic digital content. Fortunately for us, we have more control to select in real time the perfect location, screen size, and moment to reach perfectly targeted audiences. As you all know, our IAB theme for the year 2022 is Embrace. And with the way consumers are evolving in the way they search, shop, and seek more personalized experiences, new technology needs to be embraced, and especially when creating a seamless omni-channel marketing experience for consumers to seamlessly interact with brands. You will be getting impactful and practical as well as actionable insights from our keynote speakers. Our keynote speaker will be Remy Dupreez from Tractor Outdoor, Harsh Golani from Google Sub-Saharan Africa, and Paula Hewley from Future Board Online. Remember, beautiful people, we will be hosting a Q&A session towards the end of our episode, so we are encouraging you to pop your questions in our Q&A section below. We will be unpacking these questions towards the end of this episode, so we please ask that you do stick around for that. We would also like to interact with you guys, so please leave your comments in the chat section and share your insights throughout the episode. We would also like to hear what companies you guys are coming from. So before we deep dive, we'd like to just start with a quick poll. So before today, have you heard of programmatic outdoor today? So please let us know. No, you know very little about it, or yes, there have been conversations in the office about it. Okay. So we've had a few conversations in the office about it. That's actually very amazing to hear. So, but first off, we would like to introduce our first speaker for today. Remy Dupreez is the current commercial director of Tractor Outdoor. With over a decade's worth of experience in the out-of-home media arena, a prestigious LAB award, and a mobile marketing associate creative technology under his belt, Remy is passionate about data and data analytics, as well as the ability to deliver measurable, dynamic, and results-driven campaigns. Initially joining Tractor Outdoor in the capacity of sales manager, Remy rapidly progressed through the ranks and is soon promoted to head of sales and later sales director. Today, Remy is an integral part of Tractor's leadership team, occupying the role of commercial director. As one of the individuals to introduce programmatic pDOOH to the local outdoor market, he cites his mission as making OOH more accountable through the use of innovative technology. Remy, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Ria, and good morning to everybody on the call today.
Well, we're excited to hear some of the insightful things you have for us today.
Cool, thank you very much. And once again, just thank you very much to the IAB for hosting this event. We're really excited that the digital out-of-home arena has finally made its way into the IAB space. So for today, I'm just going to be giving everybody a high-level update in terms of where we are today in South Africa with programmatic digital out-of-home, or pDOOH. I'm also going to be covering a couple of the drivers that accelerated the adoption of programmatic. We'll also be looking at how out-of-home is seen within the current marketing funnel and how teams need to start thinking about how it's integrated. We'll also be looking at reasons why programmatic is considered popular. And then also we're going to have a quick look in terms of what the future is going to look like and things we are working on today that are going to be changing things tomorrow. So where are we today? So South Africa has just had its second anniversary in terms of from its first programmatic campaigns, and there's been immense advances from the few little campaigns we launched 2 years ago. As of today, we are truly connected and properly integrated. From a demand side, we have more than 30 DSPs that are currently activated and ready to buy digital out-of-home. Some of these include your major platforms such as DV360, Adform, and Trade Desk, but there are also some specialist trading platforms such as Broadsign and Hardstack that have also come to market. From a supply front, media owners have also jumped onto the opportunity and integrated as much inventory as they can. As it stands, we foresee there's probably about 60% of all digital out-of-home inventory currently available to buy today. This equates to just over 800 unique locations and screens. We are also data-led. So as far as South Africa is concerned and the out-of-home industry is concerned, we rely on what is called the Outdoor Measurement Council. They are a mature organization that provide the out-of-home industry with audience measurement data that we can obviously put into the SSPs, which our clients will then buy against. But we've also integrated with other data sets, such as mobile device IDs, using an anonymous data that is GDPR and POPI compliant, through apps that users give permission on their location settings. And then lastly, for certain niche environments, we also have facial recognition technology with cameras placed on top of a billboard, whereby we can actually understand how many people are going past billboards. Are they male? Are they female? Are they looking at the inventory? What are their emotions? There's a whole bunch of things that we can tap into today. And then finally, for the first time, really, we can actually measure out of home, which is typically been quite a difficult medium to measure. So we can see real-time impressions as things are unfolding. We are able to do footfall studies and actually understand, based on trackable device IDs of users that came into contact with the digital out-of-home display, whether we saw them inside of a store. There's clearly affinity there. And then we can also continue the conversation with audiences that have left the area of a billboard by serving ads onto someone's mobile phone, and not just on the digital out-of-home display. So what does this mean? The ecosystem that we have today closely resembles that of what digital marketers would typically experience. The medium is a little bit different. There are a couple of different nuances. So same, but a little bit more different. But it wasn't always like this. Prior to 2005, and still quite typically today, printed banners have been the norm. Back in the day, customers used to book on monthly increments. Europe is a little bit more different, where flighting generally occurs every fortnight, and advertisers would normally book key strategic holdings for long periods of time. Sometimes advertisers would have to wait years, 5 years, 10 years. If a piece of real estate would come available, you'd have to snap it up very, very quickly. Otherwise, you might lose the opportunity. In 2005, digital truly entered into the space, and the classic panel started changing up. This was then the introduction of what is known as loop-based buying. So what is a loop? It is literally just a playlist of different advertisers, depending on the media owner, and every couple of minutes, the same advert from a different advertiser would fly. So the accountants back in the day obviously loved this concept, because you'd have one piece of inventory that you could sell multiple times to different advertisers, but it was still a little bit cumbersome. Flighting crews back then would sometimes have to abseil from buildings with a USB stick in hand with the new week's content, and actually slot it into the PC installed into the back of the digital screen. So a bit vicarious and a bit inconsistent with how to run out of home properly. But once internet connections got introduced into digital displays, as well as content management systems, this meant that we could start scheduling content in remotely. In the mid-2010s and 2015, programmatic trials started happening overseas. Some of the big media owners took it upon themselves to start trialing and seeing, how could we integrate digital out of home into a programmatic landscape. There was a little bit of success, but there was just generally little interest around it. But this is where the foundations of programmatic digital out of home started. However, everything changed in 2020 when we ran our first digital out of home campaigns, and this was largely forced based on the new environment that we found ourselves, which was COVID. So COVID forced the digitization of everything. And you can imagine, as with many other industries, it was extremely difficult to be a billboard operator when everybody was told to be indoors. So the whole industry, locally and globally, spent a lot of time doing some introspection, chatting with customers and trying to understand, what do we need to do to get advertisers back onto boards, to give them new information that can assist them. So what clients wanted was, firstly, they needed opportunity to step in and out of agreements as things change on the ground. That also included day parting. Because we were restricted in terms of when we were allowed to leave the home, it made sense that we only advertised when it made sense. So our industry has always been very contractually committed. So we had to change the way we were engaging with our customers. And then obviously, with an age of uncertainty, information was extremely powerful. There was a big calling from clients to understand what is the true measurement on the ground. Are people moving around? What really is happening? So we needed to bring new data sets to support clients' decisions. And then, of course, transparency and a big willingness to engage with clients. We saw this was a great period where, for the first time, we were really working very closely with clients and agencies consistently, daily, trying to solve problems. And these elements have actually continued through now that we're out of lockdown, fortunately. But one of the big things we saw was there was a massive spike for demand in digital out-of-home inventory, whereas during this brief period, classic or traditional PVC inventory actually saw quite a steep decline. Classic inventory has made quite a big comeback. However, we did see quite a big downturn during the COVID era. So programmatic digital out-of-home has, of course, changed the way we see the marketing funnel. So out-of-home has always typically been seen as a top of the funnel brand awareness medium, and it still does an amazing job at that. However, now that we have more measurement within the programmatic space, this means that marketers can now finally start pushing out-of-home further down the funnel. We are able to intuitively give nudges to customers at certain levels and actually prove intent and measure things a little bit better. So one of the key things marketers always need to understand is that digital out-of-home is and always will be a one-to-many medium. There is always more than one person outside of a screen at any given time, unlike your one-to-one digital channel. So within our space, whenever we do measurement, it is typically done on group dynamics as well as large audience types. So the individual is not necessarily as important as the group with similar traits. So over the last 2 years, we've been fortunate enough to get a lot of feedback from agencies, and these are some of the reasons why agencies aren't loving programmatic digital out-of-home. So firstly, it's brand safe. You're very unlikely to serve an ad into a space where there's any potential unsavory context. There are some caveats to this, of course. Alcohol advertising can't advertise in close proximity to schools or places of worship, and then other smaller nuances, such as a landlord that might have an anchor tenant in a particular space, and he doesn't want to have a competitor flighting on side of that piece of inventory. It is up to media owners to tag this inventory so that whenever clients are advertising programmatically, the systems will automatically understand if you are trying to flight something in a space that is not allowed to, it will skip it over. So there's a lot of brand safety in the out-of-home space. Of course, we have no bots. A Statista report recently showcased that $81 billion is spent on ad fraud globally. In comparison, the whole digital out-of-home industry, what actually employs people, is just about $40 billion. So our industry is worth less than half of the whole ad fraud industry. As far as flexibility is concerned, nowadays we aren't too cumbersome in how clients buy. Clients dictate start dates, end dates. They can advertise for a day, they can advertise for a month, they can advertise as long as they want, and they can also dictate what days of the week or what times of the day they want to flight. So there's a good analogy. The trend is your friend. And to give some examples, we have online advertisers who they just see a peak drop on Fridays and Saturdays for search. Therefore, we recommend do not advertise on those days if it doesn't make sense. Clients can also choose inventory at street level based on proximity. So you can advertise close to your stores to give consumers a final nudge. You can also choose inventory that is potentially close to competitors' stores. Likewise, you can also choose inventory that is close to similar venues where you expect your audience to be, such as gyms, or if you're looking to target students, you could be close to universities or key arterial routes, for example. You could also take on special events. If there's going to be a big sporting or music event, it's a good opportunity to throw in some advertising to make and then quickly activate, making use of these big gatherings. But one of the big things is obviously the complementing of the Omni-Channel. So for the very first time, and obviously depending on the DSP you use, you will have a tab there where you can actually choose digital out-of-home in conjunction with all the other media that you're already buying. So you can finally have a helicopter view of everything that is going on under one roof. So for smaller agencies and for large ones as well, this does obviously mean that you now have a new medium that you can push, which obviously means new revenue for yourself as an agency. So let's look ahead in terms of what the future holds. So before, call it programmatic advertising existed, it was generally quite cumbersome, even from an internet perspective, to try to sell ad space. However, as soon as programmatic was introduced into the digital space, this allowed for consolidation of inventory. It included workflow efficiencies and, of course, measurement. This ultimately led to massive increases in spend in digital advertising. Today, programmatic still gets the big bulk of digital ad spend, and digital out of home globally is lagging considerably behind because it is still very new. It's only 1 to 2%. But we are seeing in certain markets, adoption is a lot faster. So, for example, the Netherlands is massive. More than 90% of all digital out of home currently is being bought programmatically, followed by Japan and Germany. They are also above market share. South Africa, funny enough, is being viewed as a global case study with how well a region can activate. A lot of guys are looking overseas, looking at South Africa. We're currently ranking into fifth globally in terms of the way our adoption is happening. However, we foresee a space in the future, and very probably quite likely, where digital out of home could do the same thing that happened to traditional digital, whereby we're going to start seeing more programmatic spend happening in our space. The call here is for media owners and agencies to think of what this new reality means. What are the new skill sets that you need in-house? How do your teams engage? How do you collaborate with existing out-of-home teams? These are all questions that you need to start answering now. There's no straight answer across the board. I've seen different solutions within different companies. You just have to see what works for you. In terms of going down to the nitty-gritty and some problems that we need to still solve today, the first one is standardization on audience data. So even though we have pretty robust methods using the Outdoor Measurement Council and other methods, we are still fairly limited in terms of audience data inside of internal venues. So we are having conversations at global level, and there's a big calling to try to find standardization on methodologies, on what kind of best practices we can put for audience data. In terms of creative output, billboard sizes, while sometimes the same, it is a little bit cumbersome. It is quite typical to activate a very large campaign. You are going to need quite a lot of different pieces of creative, which can obviously put a lot of strain on creative agencies. Us personally, we spend a lot of time fixing clients' artworks internally and making it ready to fit into a programmatic play. But we need to find ways that this can dynamically scale so that you can use technology to solve this problem quickly. Third-party verification is also something that we need to consider. As it stands today, publishers are the ones that control the impressions data that is ingested into the SSP. Currently, we don't have any oversight and in terms of how this is ingested, which is obviously and quite clearly a blind spot within our industry. There are some third-party verification companies starting to pop up now, and I believe we need this to continue building on trust so that clients and advertisers feel safe in terms of what it is that they're buying, and that what it is that they're buying is a true reflection of what is actually happening on the ground. But overall, one of the things we're calling on is obviously trying to build adoption of best practices with advertisers and agencies. We've come a long way over the last 2 years, and the way we are doing programmatic campaigns now versus 2 years ago is vastly different. But a lot of this has been through trial and error and learning through clients. So we make a call on everybody to get involved, test and trial, make some mistakes, make sure you learn from them, see what works, and then try it again and tweak it. Share your findings with your peers in your industry. And overall, let's see what best practices we can build with digital out of home in conjunction with other media, because ultimately it is about the clients that we serve. We are trying to drive more customers to them. Let's make best use of everything, and let's keep trialing and learning. So I'm just going to kick out a poll, and then afterwards I'm going to just leave my details up on the screen. I'd like to encourage anybody to reach out to me personally. If you know nothing about programmatic, if you're a media owner, have a chat to me. I'll show you how to get involved. If you're an agency, a strategist, give me a shout. I will answer any questions. I have absolutely no problem. But my question for you is, do you intend on including programmatic digital out of home into your strategy next year? So no, yes, we plan to apply some test budgets, or yes, we are all in and feel comfortable in execution. Thank you very much for your time again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the polls.
Thank you so much, Remy. Actually have some results from the poll, and a majority of people have said, yes, we plan on applying test budgets for programmatic digital out of home. But thank you so much, Remy. Your insights have been amazing. I especially enjoyed putting the spotlight on the flexibility that people have, as well as now integrating into more digital formats. So thank you
Thank
for
you very much, Ria. Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to interact with us in the chat, or alternatively, you can talk to us on all available social media platforms at IAB South Africa on LinkedIn and at IAB_SA on both Instagram and Twitter with using the hashtag IABSA Insights. So up next, we have our second speaker, Harsh Golani. Harsh is the programmatic media lead for Google Sub-Saharan Africa. In this role, he partners with clients and agencies in the region, evangelizing and scaling DV360 programmatic solutions to meet customers' marketing and business needs. Prior to Google, Harsh worked as a digital marketing manager in India with Housing.com and Bajaj Alliance. Harsh Golani is a graduate in commerce from Symbiosis Institute and completed his management studies in marketing from the Institute of Management Technology in India. Good morning, Harsh. Please do tell us more about programmatic.
Thanks so much, Ria, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone, whoever has joined this webinar. Great to meet you all. Super insightful session from Remy. Thanks for sharing that. It's a pleasure for me to be here in this IAB forum and being given this opportunity to speak about digital out of home and capabilities from a programmatic perspective, which marketers can start getting benefit from. So over the next few minutes, what's it that we'll be covering? We will be starting off with setting the scene from an out-of-home perspective in terms of sharing some insights from a service, consumer insights perspective, and in general ecosystem perspective. And then towards the second half of the webinar, we will be spending a bit of a time also on the DV360 side of things from a DSP perspective, and then how can marketers and agencies make use of this programmatic opportunity in front of them to reach their users. So let's get started. The actual digital heart of home opportunity. Before we actually deep dive into this segment in itself, if we take a step back as marketers, over the last so many years, for you as marketers, you have had access to so many platforms and channels that has enabled you to reach users online, engage with them, and end of the day, meet your business and marketing goals. Some of the examples of these channels would look like for instance, programmatic display, programmatic video, YouTube, audio, connected TV, to name a few. Now, allowing that, on top of that media mix, having an opportunity to enable or reach out to users through programmatic outdoor channels is an addition that can help you further not just reach out to the users across many different surfaces, but end of the day, build that brand impact and marketing and business goal that you would like to achieve towards a given point in time. So if we look into it from a marketer's lens, when we think of digital out of home, many a times we also get this question when it comes to out of home, what's the kind of inventory that you get access to? Many a times customers or clients have the sense that when we think of digital out of home, it's just that roadside billboards that you'll get access to. But in reality, when we think of digital out of home, it refers to so many different digital media surfaces outside of a user's one-to-one personal screen that you have an ability to connect with. These are not just, for example, the roadside billboards, but the likes of airports, elevators, gyms, etc., to name a few. So in a nutshell, digital out of home is sort of bringing out the best out of the digital technology with this traditional medium that is being empowered from a digital perspective and further connected through programmatic pipes using the DSP ecosystem. Now, if you take a step further from a consumer insights perspective, thanks to the partnership and studies done by many global firms like Kantar, Nielsen, Vistar, to name a few, what we've seen is from a consumer's perspective, 70% of actual consumers' time is actually spent outside of their home while they're awake. So what this means is for marketers, new moments for them to connect with these users outside of the one-to-one digital surfaces, which they are already engaging with them on. 62% of the consumers actually see digital out of home ads being high impact and high visible, which means all the more reasons why marketers should think of how can they make use of this opportunity from a programmatic perspective to drive that flexibility, but also more targeted reach during at any given point in time. And the third pretty much interesting insight, like I really found out, was that 58% of the consumers also trust the outdoor messaging which they see when they're exposed to it across many surfaces. So what does this mean in terms of marketers from a marketer's lens? So out of home matters today more than ever before. Like piggybacking on what Remy mentioned a few minutes ago, COVID has actually accelerated the shift of traditional out of home inventory to digital, and then digital inventory connected to the programmatic pipes. And the reason why this has happened is also because of the increased flexibility, automation, and measurability capabilities, which my panel member Remy covered. So in terms of some studies done by partners, again, like eMarketer, 2020 was actually the first year when programmatic digital out of home crossed $100 million of revenue. And over the next 18 months, it is expected that more than 53% of the Omni-Channel campaigns executed will have programmatic digital out of home as a part of their media mix. On top of it, advertisers are also aware that 90% of the times, like they need to invest in right platforms and right mediums so as to ensure that the users who are already experiencing device fatigue on a one-to-one basis can still actually have an opportunity to engage with the brands through this digital screens environment powered by programmatic channels. So taking a step ahead on this in terms of DV360 direction as a DSP. And for the ones who don't know, DV360 is on the Google Marketing Platform Stack, display and video 360 platform, a DSP focusing on the programmatic side of things for marketers and agencies to make use of. So if we think of it from a DSP lens, combining together all the insights that we spoke about in terms of channels which users are getting, which marketers get access to or have been getting access to for the last so many years, and now having this mix of programmatic digital out of home as well, it allows you as marketers and agencies to start planning your programmatic media campaigns across so many different channels using, let's say, DV360 as a DSP here, which now also has ability to allow marketers to get access to digital outdoor screens. And the key things that we see as a key benefit here, and based on some of the engagements and some of the campaigns that we've already launched, is it's allowing us further simplification of the workflows, driving efficiencies. And when we say efficiencies, it could mean so many different things for many different brands or customers. For some, efficiencies could be time saved in terms of planning, strategizing, buying, and measuring outdoor campaigns. And for some, it could also be time saved in terms of logistic issues that they have to deal with towards the end of the month, aka unified billing experience that they can get through with a single platform, trying to benefit from all their different media screens that they can put together in a single view of things. So taking this further, if I have to summarize in a nutshell, from a DSP environment perspective, demand side platform perspective, and let's say in this case DV360 perspective, a few things that like very much stands out in terms of the overall opportunity and inventory experience would be the simplicity to start with. Simplicity in terms of how easy it is for you to discover inventory, negotiate, plan, and buy, and of course measure. The second bit of it would be scale. So it's not just restricted to a specific location, a specific regional view. If you have a brand that is also thinking about global campaigns, then all of this could be pretty much integrated as a part of your programmatic buys or plans. And the third thing of it on this side will also be speed. It's quite critical that more and more time marketers certainly spend on strategic things versus actually going through the operational rigor and challenges. So transforming the planning process from months to minutes and actually having that holistic view and a more transparent view in terms of how your outdoor inventory is being bought is something which most of the marketers across the globe are already appreciating from the programmatic pipes being connected now. There are many more features to come in the future, which will all further entail marketers and agencies to make use of DSP ecosystem even better, amongst the few that we called out in the last few minutes. And the last bit of it from a programmatic perspective, and again from a display and video 360 as a DSP channel, if I have to think of it from a marketer's lens, the 4 key things that would stand out in terms of the way you can start planning and buying media. The first thing would be the inventory supply in itself. It's quite critical that the DSP ecosystem has that inventory supply in place that can help you cater to the demands that you have from a buyer side perspective. So that is something which platforms or DSPs like DV360, for example, as Remy mentioned, does take into consideration for marketers to make use of. The second thing would be the planning side of things. It's quite critical that you have that ability to customize the way you're planning your media or buying your media at a given point in time. And more importantly, it's also essential that you know what's the kind of access that you'll get to audiences or ad spots much in advance before you actually start running your campaigns. So all those capabilities is something which is very much possible through a DSP ecosystem being integrated as a part of your media mix, specific to outdoor. The third thing would be on the buying side of things. It's quite critical that we, as I mentioned, we have a streamlined workflows in itself. So gone are the days when you have to actually share your creators with so many different media owners when you're trying to get access to outdoor media on a one-to-one basis. Having a DSP in place can actually help you or allow you to just upload your creatives in just one single platform and get access to so many different media partners or inventory in one go, saving you a lot of time and efforts in terms of operational challenges that used to happen in the past. A very much uncalled feature here would also be unified billing. As I said to you a few minutes ago, many a times the marketing teams, the agency teams also face a challenge towards end of the month in terms of settling in the invoices, bills with the partners that they work with. So having a central platform kind of trying to take care of all your media buying, measurement, as well as like payment needs is something which can also be quite critical in terms of overall marketing and digital maturity for the partners. And the last bit of it is also the measurement side of things. It's very critical that marketers have that transparency in terms of what they are getting measured in terms of the investments that they're putting in this channel. And having a DSP ecosystem here would allow you to get that insights at any given point in time on a real-time basis, as well as Remy pointed out a few minutes ago. So these are some really amazing benefits having a DSP in place and having a programmatic ecosystem in place that can help you enable your digital out-of-home planning, buying and measuring your campaigns in the most impactful way. With that, it's poll time. We have a question in front of you and would love to get your thoughts on it. So the question here is, what key concerns do you currently have if you're aware of programmatic digital out-of-home already as a channel in terms of allowing you to plan your digital out-of-home buys? So if there are any key concerns that you have, would love to know more about it. And with that, what we'll do is I'll hand it back to Ria. If anyone is interested in the programmatic channels and want to know how to get started from a DSP perspective and DV360 perspective, you can always reach out to me in the email ID that you can see in front of the screen. So with that, Ria, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Remy, for sharing light on the technical side of the DSP ecosystem. I think it makes it a lot less intimidating for marketers to use. Right, ladies and gentlemen, please, a quick reminder to not forget to type in your questions below in the Q&A session for our panelists. We will be answering these questions at the end of our episode. And up next, we have our next and final speaker, who is the current CEO and founder of FutureBoard Online. Paula started a consultancy, FutureBoard, in 2022 after leading the IAB SA as CEO for 4 years. FutureBoard Online is an interactive marketing project and partnership company delivering on business objectives through system innovation in a culture of connectivity, and is born from over 20 years of experience in building brands and consumer engaging experiences, including previously serving as an MD of Glue Cape Town, MD of Glue at Ogilvy, post the merger with Ogilvy, and the head of innovation and digital for Ogilvy Cape Town. Paula is currently studying an MA in psychology after also studying at the Stellenbosch University, UNISA, Red and Yellow, and the UCT Graduate School of Business. Good morning, Paula. I hear you have some exciting case studies to share with us that will help demonstrate, bridge the gap for better business through digital out-of-home advertising.
Thanks so much, Ria, and such a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Razia, for inviting me, and really great to sort of continue the conversation after Remy and Harsh have taken us through so much of the benefits of digital out of home. And well done, Ria, because it is quite a mouthful. I think digital is famous for, you know, programmatic digital out of home. I think everyone should try and practice that, you know, maybe 3 times in a row.
Yes, and not try slip their tongue, definitely.
Trying it right. And just so wonderful to see so many friends in the chat. Just a shout out to all the brands and agencies and publishers who are there. These are such important tools for us. And, you know, just looking at the Australia IAB digital out of home report, you know, I think one of the key things are programs like this that help educate across so many different areas, and just to get those stats, to understand the growth, where did it come from? So thanks to the IAB again for just keeping these going and helping us all better understand the opportunities. And I think, as I've got in my title, I really do see digital out of home as the bridge to better business, and that it does bring a difference in bridging on and offline, your online and offline omni-channel campaigns, which is what we're here to speak about today. So without further ado, let's kick off with a case study. I'm going to hope all the tech pieces work. Alex, I know you'll let me know if it doesn't, but let's give it a go.
Oh my God, this is me!
المجتمع بيبص دايما ان الولاد هم اللي المفروض يهتموا بالرياضه اكتر من البنت.
انا مو مسموح لي انزل عليه امتى ما بدي من بسبب اخواتي الشباب، يعني انه ما يكون في حدا او واحد منهم ينزل معي.
Radio 104.4.
I love this campaign that is going on right now.
Yeah.
Impossible is nothing.
We want you to upload a photo on Instagram.
Yeah, doing something that makes you possible.
We are a unit unstoppable. We are a unit of choice. We are a unit that's powerful. Nothing can stop the force.
I literally flew here from Saudi to take a photo.
Take Zayed Road and I found this girl. Looks exactly like me. Oh my God.
Nothing can stop the force.
Congrats!
Yeah, can you believe it?
It's me on a billboard.
So I think what's fantastic to see here, just how digital out of home not only achieves or exceeds your campaign KPIs, but also how it drives action. And that's what we're going to look at today, just the capability of digital out of home, and specifically programmatic digital out of home, to really deliver above and beyond your KPIs as part of your omni-channel planning strategy, as well as actually how it can deliver on purpose-driven marketing, which, as you know, is just such a key feature for brands and the world that we know today. So as we've been listening to in terms of the growth of digital out of home, the world has opened up again, and there are some fantastic reports out there, including the Advertising Association Walk Expenditure Report. Alex, if you wouldn't mind, if you've got the link, I'm keen to keep the chat busy with some reports and insights that you guys can take home and kind of do a bit of further reading. So the report predicts that digital out of home investment will experience by the end of this year, like a 30% year-on-year growth, which is just incredible and really speaks to the benefits that Remy and Harsh have taken us through today. And by the looks of it, I think Google's just looking to make it easier and easier for us to include it in our overall omni-channel marketing. I think the important thing here is that the reason why the spend is increasing is because it's due to marketers like yourself who continue directing your budgets towards channels that resonate with consumers, who are us at the end of the day. And I just wanted to ask you to pay quick attention. You'll see on my slides that most of them, the background is an example. This one is at the V&A waterfront from the team at Tractor. And this is a Castle Lights one, and the format is video. So in each of my slides, I've tried to include, the brand that the billboard was for, and then the format, the creative format, really to demonstrate that whether it's a static digital billboard and that it's a simple JPEG that gets your message across, or whether it's something complex like a augmented reality or some of the 3D billboards we'll have a look at. The opportunity is there. You can be as simple and get cut through clutter with your JPEG, or you can start to build on the other formats should that be relevant to your campaign objectives. Right, so next slide. Let's see. Oops. Okay. So speaking of audiences worldwide consider digital out of home to be impactful, innovative, and creative, and making, sorry, let me just move my screen here, making it a valuable part of the advertiser's media mix. So these stats are from Group M's recent Sightline study, which was a survey conducted with 11,000 people across 11 global markets. Alex, this is another one you can drop into the chat. For people to access and kind of read up on all the different stats. And as Remy mentioned, a key priority of digital out of home is around brand awareness, as well as that drive for consumer engagement, alongside complementary channels, which drive purchases in-store and online. You saw from Harsh's presentation, digital out of home covers a wide spectrum of opportunity, not just your typical outdoor billboards that you see while driving. So this really, digital out of home really is a bridge between online and offline experiences, and really effectively unites ad creative with informative messages to motivate consumer action, just such an important thing. Brand awareness is key, but we're also looking for change in behavior, change in perception, depending on your campaign objectives and your strategic planner and the kind of brief that lands on your desk. What are you looking to achieve, and how can digital out of home help you to do that? So whether boosting brand consideration or encouraging consumers to conduct a purchase, which can be measured, this channel is a critical part of the advertising experiences that audiences enjoy. So a couple more stats from the Sightline reports, which you can read here, just in terms of the informative nature of billboards. I think what consumers are saying in the reports that I've read and the research we're looking at is that if you can fit your messaging into sort of a poster-sized format, whether it's digital, like a static JPEG or an animated video, consumers understand that you've really considered that messaging. You really are getting your message across in a limited time frame, and not limited, but like you've got like sort of a second or two to kind of share that message. And so they find it incredibly informative. I think it is, just looking at my stats here, 38% of consumers will visit your website after seeing a digital out of home ad. 2/3 will be encouraged to look up more information online, and 6 out of 10 marketers view digital out of home as an important screen for integrated omni-channel online video campaigns. So, with 77% of audiences viewing digital out of home ads as informative, and 53% of them believing that digital out of home ads provide them with enough information to make a purchase, it really is an important part of the mix, and vital to include in your campaigns. And really, again, here, driving consumer action. Another kind of result that happens, that was noted in the report, is that after seeing a digital out of home ad, half of consumers are motivated to conduct a purchase there and then. That's quite a nice stat, and demonstrate how digital out of home campaigns really do drive better business results. Right, so this is a great example from ITV. It's an animated billboard, but digital out of home's value for maximizing the impact of the omni-channel campaign is enabled by merging, as we've mentioned, precision targeting and creative optimization capabilities alongside traditional channels' mass reach and impact. And as Remy mentioned, the measurement technologies are becoming better and better in terms of really understanding the true impact of the medium, both in online and real world environments. And this really helps to inform your wider media strategies. So as we looked at, we saw the digital out of home omni-channel case study with Adidas, just having incredible participation. I think the thing to draw out here, and you saw it in the video, was that the billboards, the creative that was shown on the billboards was generated in real time off our photos doing sport in Dubai. But the real reach that happened, that extended it outside of the country of Dubai into 25 other countries, was the social sharing elements, which I think is just incredibly important to mention. And of course, with radio in the mix, that really is sort of a powerful trilogy of digital, radio, and social sharing, kind of bringing out the results that you see here on the screen. Another great example is this one by Unilever for Degree. This case study is a programmatic digital out-of-home case study. And at the time, it was Unilever's largest contextual pDOOH campaign. This happened just shortly after some of the sort of more critical phases of the epidemic, sort of towards mid-2020. People were just starting to venture out, trying to regain confidence of being out and about. And so the contextual placements that Unilever looked at were areas where people were walking to work or standing at a bus station. In this example, just a simple JPEG with a message helping to nudge and encourage people to sort of start exercising again, to uplift their mood, and many other benefits of exercise and getting outside. It had incredible results, resulting in, the ads themselves resulted in 87 million impressions. The brand lift results showed an 82% of consumers who saw the billboards were inspired to move more. So again, a really nice, additional objective for a brand like Unilever. There was an increase in sales with the impact of $4.7 million attributed to this specific campaign, 11% of which were allocated to new customers. So I think that's, really incredible that your digital out of home, can bring in new customers, and that the measurement can help us to understand that. This one was particularly exciting. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's for Samsung Galaxy with the tiger, which represents, their kind of visual impact at night. And it was to do the low light Samsung Galaxy phone new technology. But really one of the first billboards to demonstrate the 3D capability of digital out of home. And this really speaks to, certainly in the Sightline report, how digital out of home was ranked as the most innovative of all the channels surveyed, due to its potential for interactivity and its captivating format, sort of bringing your brand to life. Digital out-of-home ads are also considered to be creative and with programmatic capabilities, as discussed by our team today. Marketers can really tailor that creativity in near real time. And, there's just so many options in terms of weather, location, the day parting, exactly. There's just so many ways that programmatic can assist you maximize your budget and your spend in the space. Just looking at the time, we've got 2 minutes. Okay, so we're not going to play the video. If you'd like to access the video, Alex, I'm not sure if you've got the link for my website and the references slide, but you can go and check out the reference page and get a few more case studies there. We don't want to play that, but anyway, it's really cool. Time there. So in terms of innovation and creativity, innovative technologies are also streamlining the cross-channel customer experience. For example, QR codes. So especially in areas where people are, like at a bus stop, you're standing still. And I don't know if you know, but 67% of South Africa's working workforce uses taxis as their public transport. 20% are using buses. 13% are using trains. So as South Africa, as a community and as a people and as a workforce are just really available for more information to receive value from your messaging and hopefully improve certain areas of their life through your brand. So QR codes can take mobile users to a product landing page, can provide a personalized offer. So really just delivering a seamless experience between online and offline. And really, again, it's completely measurable. So it's a really nice one to use. So I think Harsh also mentioned this in terms of the trustworthiness of digital out-of-home ads. Definitely something to consider in terms of your messaging and information that you're sharing. It's also a key driver for action for Gen Z and millennials who like to talk about what they see, they like to share it online. And so it's especially important in your creative format to include the kind of things that would help extend your brand reach through that sharing. So your hashtag strategy, the QR codes, how you link them to your other platforms online or in store is just a really important thing to consider. AR, this Puma campaign, also incredibly important. And people just really are more responsive to interactive features when they're out and about compared to when they are at home. So why do 68% of marketers consider digital out of home in their marketing mix? I think Remy and Harsh have taken us through all of these, so I won't read them out, but the list is long, and I'm sure we'll cover some of it in the Q&A as well. So just in terms of a wrap, that, I think we'll just end off with a poll and then probably to the Q&A. Thanks so much. Yes, so in poll number 4, what are the main objectives, do you think, of digital out of home? Clue, there's a sneaky one at the end there that also might be of interest, just in case, because digital out of home really does achieve a lot of objectives. But that's the end from me. Thanks so much, Ria.
Thank you so much, Paula, for that. I'd like to actually have a look at what the response is on your poll. Okay, and the majority have said that all of the above. I guess the audience did see that sneaky link, Paula.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ria. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well done to everyone. And thanks so much for the audience for listening.
No, definitely. Thank you so much to our audience members for interacting with us and engaging with us. We have so many questions that you guys have popped into the Q&A session, which makes it more invigorating and, challenge you guys a bit. And actually touching on the measurability that you were speaking about, Paula, we've actually got a lot of questions speaking on measuring reach. And we have a specific question here from Shelley. She asked, am I right in saying that impressions equals message served? And how would we be able to measure the audience views if they do not interact with maybe QR codes or any other interactive methods?
Hi, Shelley, how are you? So nice to see you in the audience. Yeah, I think maybe I'll just start off just with a slight, just to go back one step. And then I think this is a great one for all of us to cover in the chat with the expertise around us. But I think just in terms of measurement, like any advertising, it's just so important to know, in terms of your objectives, whether they're business objectives that ladder up to your marketing objectives, what are you trying to achieve? And if reach is, the metric that you're looking for because it's around brand awareness, then, absolutely. But there are plenty of other sort of measurement sort of areas that I think digital out of home can cover. Some of them absolutely reach or impressions delivered, as you saw in quite a few of the campaigns, they speak to, the impressions delivered. There's also frequency, in target reach, brand impact metrics, sales, direct visits to website. As Shelley mentioned, if you have a QR code, you can certainly measure that. And then in-store visits are just a few. Remy, would you like to give an answer in terms of the reach question specifically?
No, it's a great question. I'm actually chatting with a couple of clients right now. I've been asking that same question. So as mentioned, we use the Outdoor Measurement Council, and we ingest their data into the SSPs, which you then purchase from. Funny enough, they're actually having a roadshow right now, launching the new set of data. And in that, we are not only looking at impressions or the amount of people, the opportunity to see in front of a billboard, but there's what they call the visibility adjustment indexes, which is the very high probability that a person will actually see a billboard based on how far it is from the road, angle, illumination, etc. So as far as the SSP's capabilities right now, we aren't able to actually push reach and unique views into our environment. However, after today's update from the OMC and also the updates coming from the SSPs, which is going to be happening in the next couple of weeks, I expect that by the beginning of next year, from a programmatic landscape, we will be able to report on a reach campaign before you've activated, and then on top of that, prove what has actually happened after that based on this new data that we'll be feeding into the systems.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I've got another question from one of our audience members, from Robert. I would like to send this through to Harsh. How do we go about getting access to DV360?
Thanks, Robert, for the question. In terms of DV360 access, it gets a bit technical in general, but in a sense, what we do is we work with our advertisers and agencies to get them onboarded through an agreement sign up, which is a AAA agreement, which we do with all of the clients or agencies who have access to DV360 or GMP or want access to GMP or DV360. So if you're interested in getting access to the platform, yeah, feel free to reach out to me and we can help you get started on that side.
And also you can just check into the comments and actually pick up on Harsh's contact details and just, keep in touch with him. And we have another interesting question from our audience, which I'm actually very interested to ask. This will go to Remy. How does a marketer kickstart, especially if they don't have digital out of home already within their marketing mix?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, from a buyer side, look, you need access to a DSP. So, and again, it depends on whichever DSP you would prefer to work with. If you want to work with DV360, you will obviously be able to get access to some omni-channel planning. However, there are also some very nuanced and very digital out-of-home focused DSPs available in South Africa as well, where they're very much just out-of-home focus. As I mentioned, Highstack and Broadsign are these kinds of DSPs. So from a marketer side, you need access to a DSP if you want to buy programmatically. If you are a publisher and you're not connected, well, you need data to support the inventory that you need to ingest. And then you also need to start onboarding your inventory via an SSP so that you can make it available for marketers. Again, if there are any publishers in the audience that do need assistance, I'll be more than happy to assist them. They can just send me a message.
Well, thank you so much for that. I've got another question for Paula. What would you say are the different drivers for buying programmatic digital out-of-home advertising?
Yeah, well, I think, a couple of them have been covered in the talk today. I think, the hyper-targeting for me, really stands out, especially in terms of the programmatic and just that, and then on top of that, the flexibility to kind of move it. So if, for example, you're a restaurant and you only serve lunch, you don't serve, you're not in the evening, then rather ensure that you're only sort of advertising in the day and that you're only advertising to, people that are in your geolocation or vicinity. So I think, that hyper targeting and then the flexibility to kind of shift and change. If you're a weather-based product and you're a suntan cream, maybe you only want to advertise like when the sun is shining, I don't know. So, or maybe around air flights and things like that. So yeah, I think the hyper targeting and the flexible buying options that have been spoken to. And then I think you also mentioned in terms of, the operational efficiency. I mean, I've worked with Tractor before, and I cannot believe their speed in terms of operating. It was a very small campaign. It wasn't done programmatically at the time. So I can just only imagine how fast it can get. So I think with programmatic, just the, that efficiency in terms of planning and being live to market, I think, Remy mentioned in terms of what the learnings that happened over the epidemic and just the industry becoming more responsive to those needs. I think, just really that operational efficiency is really great. But there are lots of other ones, I think costs and the convenience or simplicity of it. I think we looked at a few of the creative options. You can use a JPEG, like a static version with your message. And if that message is contextual to time and place or weather, I think it'll just have even greater impact. All the way to sort of the 3D side or 4D and even in the metaverse. So yeah, lots of creative options as well.
Okay, wow, that's been such a mouthful. Is there any other final last notes that any of our panelists would like to leave our audiences with?
From my side, no. I'd just love to thank everybody for, showing up today. This is a new frontier for us. We're still learning a lot. We've made a lot of strides, and this channel will evolve. It's not going to be the same a year from now. It's not going to be the same a year from then. So we're learning, we're evolving, and we're making it better.
Yeah, I think
maybe yes, go ahead. No, go ahead, Paula. Harsh.
I can go first if it's okay. Yeah, nothing specific from my side as well, but I appreciate everyone's time hearing us out and asking some great questions. If you want to get connected from a DSP perspective and get started, just reach out to me.
Awesome. Ria, I think from my side, it's that, as we've all mentioned, it just keeps changing and growing. You're not in it alone. I think if the main message I think I've seen today is that, experts like Remy and Harsh, they really are available, to help you start If you don't understand some of the terminology, I think, yeah, reach out to them. Their details are in the chat. And I think it's about partnering and finding the right partners to help you and to continue to learn with programs like this with the IAB. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciated you guys here, and I think the audience members have taken a lot of information and insightful information from you guys. So I would like to thank everyone who has gotten these valuable insights and the future of programmatic digital outdoor advertising. And we would just like to thank everyone. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tractor Outdoor, Evolitic, Bus Community, and Ornico. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us today from your cars, your homes, your offices, probably stealing a bit of your lunchtime. I'm so sorry. And yes, but for me, I would like for you guys to have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend ahead. We hope that you do take some actionable insights from today. And we're hoping to see you guys all again, same time, same place for the next Insights episode. Goodbye, everyone. And please do look out for all the comms, especially in terms of the recording from today on our social media channels and on our newsletter. Bye, everyone.